Modern food is designed to make you weaker. Welcome back to Tush Trains, and in today's topic we're going to talk about modern food is making you weaker, why testosterone is plummeting. So to start this off, in the 1940s versus today, the nutrient density in the soil has drastically changed. The nutrient density in the soil has gone down, the rise in ultra-processed foods have gone up, and the testosterone in men have gone down. Now let me just start off by saying that the modern soil that we have is depleted. So in the Journal of American College of Nutrition in 2004 found that there was up to 38% fewer nutrients, and these nutrients can include magnesium, iron, and B vitamins. These were in crops compared to the 1950s. So in the 1950s they had much more nutrient dense food. Now why did this happen? This happened due to several things such as over-farming, lack of crop rotation, chemical fertilizers that basically make dead soil, and that equals to nutrient poor food. Now there are two things that I'm really upset about, which would be the nutrient density in two key foods that I eat on a constant basis. The number one is broccoli, and what happened with broccoli is that its calcium has gone down 63%. With iron, it's gone down 34%. With vitamin A, it's gone down 55%. And this representation comes from the 1950s to 1999. Spinach is also down in iron by 60%, and this is in the past 7 years. Going on to the rise of ultra-processed foods, BMT Global Health in 2024 says that over 60% of American caloric intake comes from ultra-processed food. Now this is just junk that basically has trans fats, and it's literally all made so that you will be addicted to it and so that the companies will have massive profits. Now in terms of what this does to males, as you can probably tell, this is not good for males. Not many things in history are, like war, like famine. I don't know, this modern stuff is definitely not good for males either. So here you can see a decline in men's testosterone levels since the 1980s, and this has been steadily just decreasing. 1 in 4 men have low testosterone today. Now you might think that's a low number, but as opposed to what it was before, that's very bad, and it's definitely going to get worse as soon as time goes on. Another one is sperm count is decreased by 60% since 1973. As you can tell, this is catastrophic for all men around the world. So what do we know? Testosterone is basically dropping fast. So an average 22-year-old in 2000 had 20 to 25% higher testosterone levels than a 22-year-old today. And sperm counts have dropped by 59% from 1973 to 2011. So low testosterone basically poses a real risk. There are symptoms associated with this, such as low energy, depression, poor muscle growth, brain fog, low libido, and poor sleep. Now I wanted to delve in more and see why this was actually happening. Basically, toxins plus processed foods and a sedentary lifestyle is a recipe for disaster. Plastics, seed oils, and pesticides can also pose a problem, and blood sugar roller coasters. So everything nowadays is pumped full of sugar. So if you are raising your blood sugar that way, it can lead to chronic inflammation. There are some endocrine disruptors that you do need to think about, such as BPAs, phthalates, parabens, receipts surprisingly, and cosmetics that may disrupt hormones. In terms of seed oils, I'm sure you've heard a lot about seed oils. What happens is you have an omega-6 overload, which basically skews the ratio of your omega-6 to omega-3s, and what this causes is chronic inflammation. Along with sedentary lifestyle and stress, it definitely lowers testosterone. So let's go into what you must do to combat this. So you have to fix food, train hard, sleep deep, and detox your life. You need to lift heavy and sprint weekly. You have to have sunlight, sleep, and exposure to the cold, and you need to ditch plastics. So in terms of eating nutrient dense real food, this is what I like to do. I like to eat grass-fed meat, liver, eggs, and organic vegetables. You can have bone broth, sea salt, cod liver, and fermented foods. A good thing to track would be your magnesium, zinc, and vitamin D intake. And if you are unsure if you're deficient, I would suggest go and get a blood test, because you would see on a piece of paper the exact values and what you need to be prescribed. Training with intention is important too. I like to train every session with compound lifts such as squats, deadlifts, pull-ups, and of course you can do sprints too. High intensity interval training is really good, especially for hormone health. it's more beneficial than chronic cardio. Bear in mind that sleep is anabolic, so 7 to 9 hours of sleep, pitch black room, and no screens 1 hour before you sleep. Now, if you have 2 nights where you have under 6 hours sleep, your testosterone drops by 15%. So you need to be very careful not to sleep below 6 hours. You need to throw out any type of endocrine disruptor. This could be plastic or water bottles. What you want to use instead is opt for glass and steel containers. You want to drink filtered water and have organic skincare. Now, in terms of cold exposure and morning sunlight, you want to have ice baths and morning sunlight because this boosts dopamine and testosterone. Now, the last thing that people don't really understand is that vitamin D is not actually a vitamin, it's a hormone, and 40% of men are deficient in this. So please do get a blood test done and find out if you are deficient, and then you can go ahead and be prescribed the right amounts just to help you in your health. That's all for today. Thank you for coming to my talk, and I'll see you on the next one.